Hi everyone, Tori here today with another December daily video. Every day during the month of December I'm posting a new video, and today I'm working on December 8th. And as you can see, I'm going to be using some Starbucks cups for my creation today. I love Starbucks. It's honestly one of my favorite places in the world. It's my happy place. There are two places in the world that I love more than anything, and that's my bedroom, aka my scrap room, and Starbucks. And if I could just spend my whole entire life in those two places, I would be a very happy person. So I love Starbucks, and this year they came out with these beautiful red cups with the really gorgeous hand-drawn designs on them. And as soon as I saw the red cups come out, I knew that I needed to include them in my December daily, and I knew that I wanted to create a way to kind of highlight all of the gorgeous designs on one page. And I thought it would be so fun to highlight them on this 2x2 page protector in my 6x8 album, and it looks so good. I'm so happy. It's so wonderful when you have this idea in your head of what you want to do and then it actually works. It's like magic. So what I'm doing now is just kind of prepping the cups. So what I did was I went to a Starbucks, asked for one of each cup. Thankfully, they were really sweet about it and gave them to me. I heard some people have had difficulty asking for all 10 or all 12 or whatever, but the Starbucks I went to was really sweet. If you have difficulty, I would just go back multiple times and try to save the cups. In Ontario, where I'm from, there are 10 different cups. I know there's 13 total, but just where I am, there's only 10 options. So I will have to repeat a couple of them, but that's okay because some of the cups have multiple designs on them, so it worked really well. To prep the cups, I just cut out the bottom using an X-Acto knife and punched out the bottom. Then I cut up the side of the cups along the spine, or along the seam, sorry. And then I have flat cups that I can cut into 2x2 squares for my page protector. Now, I'm going to be honest, I made this way more difficult than it actually needed to be. I had this vision of including the Starbucks logo in my pockets, and I kind of wanted the logo to go between 4 different pockets. And that took me some time and math to try to figure out. To be honest, if I were to do it again, I would probably skip this step and just either not include the logo or just put the logo in one square. That would have definitely made it a lot easier. But instead, I had to do some precise calculations to make sure that the logo would match up in all 4 of the squares. I love the way that it worked out, but it was a little challenging. So I picked out this really gorgeous snowflake pattern, and I knew that I wanted to use part of the logo for this one. So I kind of held the page protector over and put where the corners were so that I could see how much to cut out, and I definitely cut it bigger than it needed to be. I grabbed out a little bit of tracing paper to make a stencil. So those of us who have used these 2x2 squares before know that they are not a perfect square. They're not perfectly 2x2 inches, which is so frustrating. I don't know why it's done that way, but it is. So it's slightly smaller. And the other thing you'll notice is that the pockets in the middle are slightly a different size than the pockets on the left side, and slightly a different size than the pockets on the right side. So I knew that I needed some kind of stencil to help me measure my squares so that they would fit and the logo would line up and it would fit perfectly. So as you saw, I grabbed a piece of tracing paper, stuck it on top of the page protector, and used a pencil to lightly shade on top. It showed me where the lines were. I cut it using my paper trimmer, and now I have the perfectly sized stencil, which I can lay on top of the cup, trace to get the square, and then cut out the square to make it a perfect fit. And this worked perfectly. So if I were to do it again, or if you guys were going to copy me, because I know there's a couple people who went and saved a bunch of Starbucks cups once they saw that I had all of them, I would grab some tracing paper. You could even use a vellum if you didn't have tracing paper, and make your own stencil and go from there. So as you can see, I kind of just put it in using the stencil and trimmed it. Now I wanted the logo to go across multiple squares, so what I did was I saved the pieces of the logo that I had cut off on the first one, lined those up on my stencil, and then laid my stencil on top to know where to draw the square. And that worked out perfectly. It's like magic. Now, I will be honest, this whole entire process probably took me about an hour and a half, but I just stuck on some Christmas music and got to it, and I love, 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 love the end creation. So for me, it's totally worth spending the extra time to make this work. Now, if you are like more mathematically inept than I am, you probably wouldn't take that long. It would have been easier. Also, if I didn't try to make the logo go across 4 pockets, it would have been a lot easier too, because I could have just, what do you call it? I could have just like cut out a 2x2 square on anywhere on the cup, and it would have looked really pretty. So there's ways to make it go a little faster. But I love this process. It was so much fun. And I love the way that it turned out in the end. So as you can tell, I have it pretty fast today just because I didn't want you guys to have to sit there for an hour and a half watching me cut and trim and cut and trim. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to even speed this up a little bit more. I'm going to stick on some music, and I'll come back when I've filled up the page protector with all of my squares and show you how I finish off this layout, add my number, and even add in the coffee sleeve. So give me a few minutes. I'll be right back. So you'll notice that I end up having to use a couple cups twice, but that was totally fine with me. Some of the cups had multiple patterns on them, so I felt like it worked out really well actually to do this. For example, this one had like a snowflake section plus the trees, and since I had already included a piece from the trees, I decided to include the piece from the snowflakes. And I did include this section of the cup where they mark like what it is that you've ordered. I just thought that that was kind of a cool thing to include because it also represents Starbucks to me. So I did include that, but you obviously wouldn't have to if you didn't like that section. And as you can see, it's totally gorgeous. I love the way that it works out. I wanted to add a place for journaling, and I also really wanted to include this cup sleeve because it says crafted by hand and heart, which that's amazing for scrapbookers. So I have it. It also has the French on there, or the Spanish, I don't know what language that is, French probably, and I didn't necessarily want that to show, so I'm going to try to figure out a way to cover it. I grabbed out my number for the day. I've been using these Felicity Jane black and white chipboard numbers, which I love, and it actually looks really good with the Starbucks cups. It just kind of looks like it fits perfectly. So I'm going to end up gluing it down right on top of the page protector, right where it is right now, just because I think it looks super cute on the corner of the Starbucks logo. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention is one of the really awesome things about the Starbucks cups is no matter what size you get, the logo is always the same size. So the pockets that have part of the logo on them worked out well, even though they were different size cups, because the logo is the same size on every cup. So just a random factoid for you if you're interested. If you weren't going to include the logo, it wouldn't even be necessary to have that on there. But I felt like as a Starbucks fan, I wanted to include the logo to show that that's where the cups came from and that's where I had been that day. My mom and I decided to leave work a little early to go to Starbucks to work. And I mean, seriously, like, how could your day get any better? No. So I'm just going through the different things in my stash to try to find something to cover up the French there, or Spanish. I don't know what language it is. Obviously, I don't speak French or Spanish, or else I would know. I mean, I think it's, I don't know. Who knows? It's probably Spanish. So I just kind of was going through the different paper pads I had in my kit, and I found a couple of them that I thought would use, and then I was like, maybe I could just cover it up with a Project Life card, because I'm going to do journaling on it anyways, and I had this one Project Life card that I think came from a cut-apart sheet from Felicity Jane a while back, probably. And I'm going to use that. It's slightly larger than the cup sleeve, so I am going to trim it down. I'm just using some score tape just to glue it down or stick it down to the cup. And once it's stuck down, then I can add my journaling right to that circle part. I felt like it was the perfect place to add a little bit of journaling onto the cup. And that will be kind of how my layout looks today. It'll be this 2x2 pockets with the Starbucks, which like every time I look at it, I'm like, that looks so good. It's like exactly what I wanted in my head. And then I'll also have the sleeve where I can add a little bit of journaling. And I think it worked out really well, actually, like from the vision I had in my head to like what happens on this slide. So I just trimmed off the extra page or the extra paper, and I'm going to add my journaling, but I thought maybe I should move the 8 there, but I really like the 8 where it was, so I'm going to leave it. Before I add my journaling or any other embellishments, I kind of want to add the holes. I really love the idea of having something a little chunky on the circle too, just kind of to tie it together with the page protector below. And I have these gorgeous sparkly bows from Freckled Fawn. So I'm going to use that red one, and I just love that it gives that little pop of red from the cups to the Crafted by Hand and Heart cup sleeve. So before I add my journaling, like I said, I want to add the circles or the holes just because I know that the holes are going to cut into the circle a little bit, so I don't want my journaling to get cut off. So I played around a little bit trying to figure out which way I wanted the cup page protector to lay. And if I lined it up straight with the side, it was going to curve downwards, which I didn't really like. I didn't think it was appealing. So instead, the holes are not going to be straight along the side. They're going to actually be diagonal a little bit, and that's so that it will curve upwards when I stick it in my album. It'll curve like that. So you'll see it later when I show you my album, but it kind of pokes out a little bit to the side, but I like that. I'm going to add my number and my little bow, and then I'm going to add my journaling. And to glue down my embellishments, I'm just using my hot glue gun, which I use all the time, and I love that thing. It's amazing. I just love my hot glue gun. I've talked about it before. And then I'm just going to grab my roller date stamp because I wanted to include the date. I've been trying to include that every day too. And I just stuck that on the top of the Crafted by Hand and Heart. And then I'll just add my journaling about how my mom and I went to Starbucks. And honestly, I've been waiting for like weeks to go to Starbucks to get these red cups. And we don't really have a Starbucks in my town, which is so frustrating. So you have to drive somewhere else to get it, but it's so worth it. So I just finished that off by adding my journaling in that circle. And that's what this layout is going to look like. I love the way that it worked out. It's super cute. Now, I found that the line between the journaling card and the Crafted by Hand and Heart was kind of harsh, so I wanted to just add something there to, I don't know, finish it off. So I grabbed just a piece of this washi from Felicity Jane that I've been using all the time. I think this is like the 10th time I've used it. And just trimmed a little 1/4-inch strip, and then I'm going to stick that there, and I feel like it just finishes it off perfect. So that's it for me today. If you want to see better pictures of the layout, head over to my blog, toribissell.com. I'll have them up there. Otherwise, check back tomorrow for another December Daily related video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you learned something new, and I hope it inspired you. And most of all, I hope you have a lovely day. Bye!
Thank you.